Am I the a-hole for humiliating my mother-in-law by teaching her basic genetics? My husband and I have 3 daughters, 7, 5, 3, and another girl on the way. We are not trying to have kids until we have a boy, by the way. We just always wanted to have a big family, so we plan on having 4 babies and stop. I'll call my mother-in-law Janet to make it easier. My husband is Janet's only child, and she is proud of the fact that her family has raised great men. Grandparents, great-grandparents were influential people in my city or even country. And because of that, BS to be honest, they have this tradition to have at least one man to carry on the legacy. My husband totally disagrees with this tradition, and we made a decision together that he would have a vasectomy because we are satisfied with 4 girls. And surprisingly, his mother freaked out when she learned he had a vasectomy and has been pushing to get it reversed. When she saw that her son wouldn't do it, she began to say that I made his mind up and that I was the reason he didn't have a son. We don't cut contact because she helps us a lot with our daughters. She wants to, and she never mistreat them. Besides, they are always excited to go to Grandma's house again. Sunday was the baby shower and it was an event at my house. I had my family, friends, and my husband's family, mother-in-law, his aunts, and some cousins. There were tables scattered around, and my husband's family were at the same table. I went to say hello, talk to them to try to be present with all the tables, and here begins the part about me being an a-hole. The aunts and cousins started to congratulate me for another girl, and I think an aunt said something like, "It's too bad a boy didn't come. It would be perfect for the last child." Janet didn't even let me reply and said with a, "Not all daughter-in-law are capable of carrying out the family legacy." That's sad. I was shocked, and I admit got a little angry. Can I blame the hormones? I replied, "Look, Janet, in case you didn't know, to have a boy depends exclusively on your son's sperm, so stop talking nonsense." She was very embarrassed, so she became quiet and excused herself, left the house without saying anything. My husband thought it was funny, didn't get mad, and agreed that Janet needed it. But I suffered hate from his family who knew about what I did, and said I humiliated her unnecessarily to the point where she walked away from the party and not left for a day of the bedroom. I don't think I did anything wrong. Maybe I could have spoken less harshly, but I was tired of hearing her nonsense, and my limit was the baby shower. And yes, my husband warned her not to talk about this. For fear of different treatment with our youngest, we decided to enter low contact/no contact with her. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. If she didn't want you to tell her the fact, maybe she shouldn't have been trying to badmouth you and intentionally humiliate you at your own baby shower. Not the a-hole. Janet can dish it out but can't take it. Janet shouldn't have opened her mouth. But it's okay to humiliate Opie and not Janet? Glad Opie stood up to her. Seriously, if you don't want to be corrected in front of others, try not being wrong in front of others. Oh, so it was fine when she was trying to humiliate you by stating you were inadequate for not having male children, but you responding with the truth was beyond a pale? Not the a-hole. And to be fair, mother-in-law isn't exactly the gold standard of son-bearing either. If she wanted to improve her chances of having a grandson, she should have had more sons, or even children, herself instead of stopping at 1. She was probably afraid she would have a daughter, who would marry and not carry on the name. Next story. Am I the a-hole for literally showing my dad how he behaves every day when he gets home from work? My female 16, father male 46, is the breadwinner while my mom is a stay-at-home mom. She handles everything around the house, like cooking, mopping, washing, laundry, etc. I'm the oldest and I try to help, but really there's only so much I can do. While my dad just gets home at the end of the day and literally complains about everything, like how the carpet isn't clean or how the food is cold. As a result, I'd have to listen to a huge argument daily between him and mom. It's exhausting, but honestly, I think that my dad is in the wrong here. I tried talking to him to get him to see how his behavior is, but to no avail. So, what I did was pick a day off for him and pretend to act like him. I put together an outfit that looked like a suit and put black tape over my lips to look like a mustache. At 6 p.m., I went inside the house, shouted, "I'm home," then sat next to him in the living room and started kicking my shoes while complaining about the state of the house at the top of my lungs. He glanced at me confused, asking what I was doing. I ignored him, then started yelling about the carpet being dirty, shower not ready, the kids needing to be quiet, and so on. He kept staring while mom and my siblings laughed. My youngest brother kept pointing towards me and saying, "This is daddy." and then proceeded to yell about dinner, then berated my mom for not preparing it before time. My dad stopped me and, in a serious tone, asked what I was doing. I turned to him and said, "What? Can't a man effing rest after working long hours?" in the most macho voice I could muster. My dad got the hint because this was the common phrase he uses daily. He went quiet and avoided looking at me. I stopped the act and told him I was trying to show him what it's like every day when he comes home from work. He said nothing, just went outside and refused to speak to me. Later, he went on about how I mocked and invalidated him, that he does work hard and me doing this was disrespectful and invalidating. Mom said it was funny, but also thought I hurt my dad's feelings, and I could have gotten the message across some other way instead. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You held up a mirror to his behavior and he didn't like what he saw. That's on him. I hope he gets the message. He didn't even realize he was looking in the mirror until the end. Then all the feelings crashed down hard on him. Hopefully he'll learn. Good job at figuring out a method that illuminated the situation. You can't hurt someone's feelings unless they already feel bad about that thing. Like, a tall person that enjoys being tall isn't going to be upset when someone makes a tall person joke, because they don't have insecurities about being tall. Dad here clearly already feels insecure about his contribution to the family. And when you made it super clear everyone in the house also sees he doesn't contribute properly to the family, he felt like crap. Not the holopy. He needs to see how his behavior is wrong and affects the entire household. Not the whole first off, but I think you have a good chance here. Listen, please. You can acknowledge, "Hey Dad, I know that probably did hurt your feelings and I'm sorry. Of course you work hard and provide for us and we appreciate it. But I want you to see that your behavior hurts Mom's feelings and hurts the family." The fact he went quiet instead of exploding in anger to me says there is hope. Like many dudes his age, he struggles to process those emotions, but he recognized he was feeling more embarrassed/hurt than angry, it seems. The key is to understand and withhold judgment, to recenter the conversation on not just his pain, but everyone's feeling pain and moving forward. That's tough, and you're a kid. It's not your responsibility to do it. You would be morally justified to say F off. But I always ask, do you want to win or be right? Being right often feels hollow. I hope you win. I just want to hop onto this excellent comment to add I would also recommend you having a private chat with your mom. Explain to her that me acting like Dad wasn't just about pointing out his bad behavior towards you. I also want to point out how your marriage affects the whole family. The daily fights and Dad's yelling affects everyone. We all feel it when it gets to the time Dad is due home and we prepare to listen to our dad to be mean to our mom. It affects all of us knowing our dad doesn't respect our mom. Every day we all watch your hard work. We have started trying to help you out because we know our dad doesn't appreciate or respect the hard work you do. It's so bad that younger brother recognized I was pretending to be Dad so quickly, yet Dad didn't know what was going on until the last minute. But what affects me the most is knowing that despite all this, you always put Dad's feelings first, before your own and before everyone else's. Even now, you're more concerned with how what I did hurt Dad's feelings than you are concerned by how Dad's behavior affects the rest of the family. Brother strongly associates that behavior with Dad, while Dad apparently has no idea he behaves like this. And your priority is me apologizing to Dad, not changing this dynamic between you and Dad, or asking Dad to apologize to us for making our atmosphere at home so awful every time he comes home from work. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to share my business profits with my husband? I, female 32, have a leg disability that got worse to the point I could no longer work. So I stayed home with the kids for 4 years. I had plenty of free time after the kids became more independent, and I found myself sitting around all day long. I have a sewing hobby that I learned while living with my grandmother since I was 13, so I started spending my time sewing. My husband made a laughing stock out of me, calling me grandma or granny and running with the jokes and teasing. It was unbearable, but I ignored him. A friend of mine saw some of my works and suggested I open a website and sell what I make. I was hesitant about it, and my husband's opinion was, meh, who would want to buy grandma's junk? But I asked my friend to help me, and people really liked my works. They started buying them off of me, which was shockingly amazing, y'all. I started really investing into this, and in 1 month, I was able to make over $200 to $300. It's been 3 months now into the business. When money started coming, my husband would ask me to buy something or make a restaurant reservation or even fix his car for him. When I refuse, he'd say that I have money from my sewing business and should really pay. I declined every single time he asks. Yesterday, he showed me a wristwatch online that he really liked and asked if I could pay for it. I said no because I have no money. He pointed out once again the money I have for my sewing business, but I told him that the money was literally none of his business. He blew up saying that I was being selfish and mean, and said that the business profit should be split equally between both of us, not just me. I used caps because he yelled those words. I told him he not only mocked me for sewing, he even doubted my potentials. Besides that, I do all the work, so why would he expect profit? He said that he, as my husband, gets half, and I should really consider it or stop the sewing thing altogether. I laughed thinking he was messing around, but he left the house then came back looking pissed. His friend called to scold me, reminding me that my husband already does enough for me to be able to find some time to sew, and so he deserves a percentage, but I still refused. Now his family are pressuring me to share the money, but I'm still refusing. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Everyone sucks here. Your husband sucks for belittling you and discouraging you. But I assume your husband works and has been bringing in an income that he used to pay for food and shelter. You got to share in that, didn't you? Your husband may not deserve a percentage, but you're supposed to be in this marriage together. It doesn't sound like you are. If that's the case, end it with him so you can both find someone more suitable. He's a bit of an unsupportive jerk. But why is your income only yours while his is both of yours? A bit? No. He's a huge, massive, raging, unsupportive a-hole. I'm with the wife on this one. Though I do have to say if my partner were as disrespectful as Opie's, then I would have been gone long ago. He has no respect for her or her business. He's just sticking his grubby hands in the piggy bank now that she's actually making money. I guess she should be paying half the bills/rent/mortgage with her sewing money then, since apparently they don't share any money now. How much would he be paying for before and after school care for their children so he can go to work? Her business is a home business that she does in addition to being a stay-at-home parent. Is he paying her for her job or investing in her business? How much would he be paying for before and after school care for their children so he can go to work? You're talking as if the kids are only his, and the mom should be paid for taking care of her own children. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex and his wife that I do not care about their household in front of his stepchild? Ex and I were never married, but we share 2 sons, Cole 9 and Mika 8. 3 years ago, he met his wife Janessa, and 18 months ago they started living together with her kids who are under the age of 10, I believe. The boys struggled with their dad being serious with someone, and I hated that for them, so I put them both into therapy. My ex wasn't thrilled. His biggest complaint was therapy wasn't something he believed in. But our court order states either of us can put the kids in therapy, as long as the parent who makes the choice pays, provides access to the therapist to the other parent, and it doesn't interfere with the other parent's schedule. I take the boys in my time, so it was never an issue. Once they moved in together, the boys started to really dislike things, and it only got worse when my ex and Janessa married. They felt like Janessa was trying to take over as their mom, which they didn't like. There was pressure put on them to call her mom and her kids brother and sister. I don't know everything, as the boys prefer to keep certain things between them and their therapists. But after a while, the 2 therapists raised concerns about the environment at my ex's house, and having no cooperation from him when both tried to speak to him. So it was agreed I should try to amend the parenting time he gets. The judge decided he should go from 50-50 to every other weekend and a dinner every other Wednesday. Ex was not happy. He argued that he could provide them with a 2-parent home. The judge said they were engaging in parental alienation by attempting to force the title of mom for his wife. He also told my ex that he should have cared more about his son's well-being and engaged with their therapists. Ex and Janessa are really unhappy with the new schedule, and they have both attempted to complain to me that it was disruptive to their household to have the boys so little, and to have more money taken out of their household. I do my best not to engage. Janessa's pregnant now, and they wanted to have the boys the weeks leading up to the birth, so they would be present when she has the baby. I said no. I told them it was not the best interest of the boys. So they decided to bring it up around Janessa's daughter, during a moment where the boys were not present, about how it impacted their household and how much of a strain it is on them. I told them I did not care about their household. I care about my sons and their best interest. The child heard, and my ex and Janessa called me an a-hole for saying that in front of her. Am I? Not an a-hole. Your ex and his new wife sound like hard work. Why on earth she would demand they call her mom is anyone's guess. Control thing, I imagine. I hope you and your boys are okay. I suspect is leaving most of the kids' stuff to her, and so she feels like that entitles her to the title of mom. You're probably correct. She should as a mother respect that boundary. How would she feel if someone else was telling her kids to call them mom? I hate people. At least they have a good support from you. Thank you. I try my best to keep putting them first, so I have walked away from a good many things that could have become a fight, but it wouldn't be good for them. Janessa is pregnant now and they wanted to have the boys the weeks leading up to the birth so they would be present when she has the baby. Perhaps I'm a bit too jaded, but I'm immediately suspicious. What does she really want her kids around for? Because to see the birth of their half-sibling doesn't ring genuine to me. Have your kids ever complained about being made to do more chores than is fair for an 8 and 9-year-old? Or being made to entertain or watch their step-siblings? You keep doing what is best for your kids, not the a-hole. Chores has never been a complaint for my kids, but there has been a lot of sibling time forced which they haven't liked. They were never left in charge, but for example, Mika's class did a sibling day thing in school for art, and when he only drew him and Cole, my ex and Janessa told him it was wrong because he left out his other siblings.